Welcome back to my channel where we discuss most things personal finance and all things credit. My name is Jay Woodfin. I go by just Jay Woodfin on all social media platforms. Today we are going to be talking about Dave Ramsey. And I know Dave Ramsey is a super popular dude. He has basically an open seat, a standing open seat, open stage at pretty much every black church in America. And I wonder why. Dave Ramsey is, just in case you don't know, he's a guy who preaches work more, save more, spend less, zero debt, blah, blah, blah. And I'm cool with all that. I'm good with that. His little 7 baby steps to financial freedom, whatever it's called, is actually not bad when it comes to learning how to monitor your finances, how to build discipline when it comes to working with your finances, how to get debt free. And that's all well and good. But what he refuses to understand is that for 99% of us who are not worth $50 million and have a $15 million mega mansion in the hills, is that we have to operate by the rules of the game. And Dave Ramsey seems to want everybody to work the way he does. That he wants everybody to spend the way he does, operate the way he does. And that's just not realistic. Now, for some people who are willing to basically put their lives on pause, not go out to dinner, not go to amusement parks, not ever have a new vehicle, never have a traditional mortgage, for people like that, then cool, all good. But for most of us out here who have some sense, who know that the credit score actually matters for the things that we want to do in life, especially if we want to save a little money doing them, then you have to operate by the rules of the credit game. This man, who's supposed to be a financial analyst, makes millions of dollars giving financial advice every year, doesn't understand what the FICO credit score algorithm really is. So what I want you guys to do, this is a reaction video if you can't figure it out by now. I want you to watch this video with me, and I'm going to pause and start this video as I see fit and discuss with you exactly what's wrong with this man and everything he says when it comes to credit. Take a listen.
See, what you've got to do, folks, when it comes to this FICO score stuff, and people run around mouthing about that stuff all the time. Oh, my God. They have done such a good job at FICO of making you believe that that is an actual indicator of your success. Your FICO score is not an indicator of your success. All you've done is successfully pay payments and interest to the bank.
He's 100% right. The FICO score is not an indicator of your success. Your financial success or any other success. It's not a success metric at all. It's not supposed to be. The FICO score is supposed to simply be an indicator of your credit worthiness, your ability to borrow and pay back according to the terms of the agreement set forth. So what he's talking about here is simply meant to do one thing and one thing only. And you guys got to understand. I hope you guys have been paying attention to Dave Ramsey if you're a Dave Ramsey fan. He actually, all he does is stir up emotions. Look at his posture. He's taken an authoritative posture, turned down mouth, disapproving of pretty much everything unless it comes out of Dave Ramsey's mouth, instead of trying to understand and utilizing true facts. And the facts of the matter are the credit score algorithm, FICO score, Vantage score, is never meant to be a metric of success. It's meant to be a metric of credit worthiness. Let's keep going. This is already off to a bad start.
It's the only way you get a FICO score. I've got an 880. Well, I'm sorry. That probably cost you about $100,000.
The assumptions that he makes, that it costs anybody anything. The rudimentary way that he approaches credit and finances when it comes to credit is astounding. It's absolutely astounding. Now, this man, I believe, has been through bankruptcy once or twice early in his life. He's obviously made some mistakes and came up with a very rigid solution for getting himself out of that and keeping himself out of that, and to trying to apply this to every American's life. This is concerning. This is already concerning.
I mean, really. You can get, your aunt could die tomorrow and leave you $10 million. You know what that would do to your FICO score? Nothing. Because your FICO score is not an indicator of your net worth. Your boss could walk in this afternoon and raise your income to $1 million a year. You know what that would do to your FICO score? Nothing. Because a FICO score is not an indicator of financial health. It's not an indicator of a big income. It's not an indicator of a big net worth. It's not an indicator of a big investment portfolio. A FICO score is an indicator that you've borrowed money and paid it back a lot. And the higher your FICO score, it means the more you've done this over and over and over and over again.
So what he's not offering, the information that he's not offering, by the way, he's right. The FICO score indication or the FICO score algorithm does not take into account your income. It does not take into account your job status, your education level. It doesn't care about any of those things. Plenty of my clients have 750 FICO scores, 800 FICO scores, and they don't make six figures. So he's right in that regard. He's absolutely correct. The FICO score is not an indicator of any income whatsoever. It's an indicator of how you borrow money from other people or institutions and simply pay it back. And by the way, if you think they don't check your income when you're going in to get a loan or when you're going to get a credit card, you're absolutely incorrect. So the income does have some bearing on that. Now, when you're talking about inheriting $10 million or making $1 million a year, in what world are you going to actually have to borrow anything when that's your financial picture? So he's conflating these two things. He's mixing things up. A person who's worth $10 million or has $10 million in a bank probably doesn't need a credit score, probably don't need loans, probably don't need credit cards. I bet they still use them, but they don't need them. So he's trying to make this thing. This is something that people do when their argument is not sufficient. They go to the extremes. This is what Dave Ramsey does when it comes to credit. He always goes to the extremes. You've borrowed hundreds of thousands of dollars. You paid hundreds of thousands in interest. Let's keep listening. He'll keep putting the rope around his neck. Let's keep listening.
So this worshiping at the altar of FICO represents stupidity on your part. Stupid. Because you're using a false measure of success. It is not a measure of financial success, unless you consider paying lots of interest and payments to the bank success.
Oh, hell no.
Oh,
hell no. Now, see, this is where he done stepped in it. This is where he's truly proven that he has no idea where the score comes from. The FICO score has 5 parts to the algorithm: on-time payment history, your utilization rate, your overall credit history, your average age of credit, your credit mix, and your new credit. At no point in time does the FICO score algorithm take into interest or calculate or do you benefit from paying interest? If you use your credit card today, and when it posts to the credit card account in 3 days, you take the money from your bank that you were going to spend anyway on that same item, and you pay that credit card down, you have escaped with paying 0 interest while you have built credit, while you've made your FICO score better. In no way, shape, or form do you ever have to accumulate interest of any kind. And I'm proof positive I haven't paid a dime of interest in 10 years and got an 800 plus credit score. Can do whatever I want with over $250,000 of open credit. So this is patently false what he's trying to tell people out here, that you have to accumulate interest, that you have to pay thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest in order to accumulate an 800 or 850 credit score. Jesus.
Only way that your FICO score develops. And case in point is, if you never borrow money, you'll never have a FICO score. Case in point is, if you pay off every single account and close all of them, and you have a net worth of tens of millions of dollars, and you make $1 bazillion a year.
This idiot doesn't even understand that the dollar itself is a unit of debt. Every single thing you spend in America is a unit of debt. I don't care if you spend the dollar from a debit card or a credit card. The dollar itself is a unit of debt. Look at he's so sure. Ew, he's so sure. Just delivering this, irresponsibly delivering this information to the masses. Look how many views are on this video. If you guys want to check, I'll actually put the link up so you can look at Dave Ramsey. Look how many views this guy, look how misguided this dude is. And all his flock, just misguided.
Here. And your FICO score is 0. That's me, by the way. Okay? I have a 0 FICO score. I'm not borrowing money in 20 years. All the accounts are closed. They're not just 0 balanced, they're closed. I don't owe a soul and haven't in 20 years. And plus, over 20 years. And so I don't have a FICO score. But here's how stupid our...
No, Dave, you don't have a FICO score because you're worth $50+ million. So you don't need one. Stop putting yourself in the same bucket as the masses out here of people who on average make $45,000 a freaking year. Who need a FICO score so they can rent an apartment. Who need a FICO score so they can get a decent rate on a mortgage. Who need a FICO score because they can't afford to go out and pay cash for a vehicle. Dave, you freak.
Culture
it's
is
weird.
I can wander over here to the local apartment complex with some little 27-year-old apartment manager who reports to somebody. I live in Nashville, and they report to somebody in New York or Atlanta. And I fill out an application to rent an apartment. And because I don't have a FICO score, their thought train is so backward and stupid, they won't rent me an apartment. Now, I can write a check and buy the whole freaking complex, but I can't rent an apartment there.
Now, what he fails to consider is the fact that maybe they don't have a way or reason to deal with a situation like that, because if somebody's coming there to rent a 1,200, 1,500, 2,000 square foot apartment and they're worth $50 million, something else is really wrong, Dave. That's what you're not talking about. You're not talking about the average American. You're talking about your idiot self. Sitting up here calling other people stupid, and this entire argument you've made has been rich with idiocy. The entire argument.
See, that's how stupid this is and how culturally backward it is. So, if your goal is to buy nice furniture for the bank lobby, then run your FICO score up. If your goal is to make sure that the windows are cleaned on that 100-story tower in the downtown skyline of your city, and
still has yet to present a single fact. We are 3 minutes, 45 seconds into this video, and all he's done is spout pejoratives, insult his audience, and put himself in a place like he's the common man and asked you to operate that way. He hasn't said a single fact.
And that's a bank tower. If your goal is to make sure the window washers there get paid, then run your FICO score up. If your goal is to make sure the stock at General Motors or Ford or Lexus, that their stock price goes up because their profit has increased because they've funded more car loans and made interest on you, then run your FICO score up. But if your goal is to change your family tree and become very wealthy and outrageously generous, if your goal is to have tens of millions of dollars in order to make sure that your family generationally is shifted and that you have the ability to be unbelievably outrageously generous, if that's your goal, then screw FICO.
So Dave thinks that the average American who makes $45,000 a year, pre-tax, by the way, probably has 2 kids that have to go to school and need to be fed and clothed, have to pay rent, will be able to make hundreds of millions of dollars, or I don't know if you said tens of millions or millions alone, be able to just, out of thin air, pull money out of the sky and change their family's financial picture for the rest of their lineage to come. This is, in the words of Killmonger, this is your king. This is your king.
Why are you giving them money? Why are you giving banks money to run up a false measure of success? It's not a proper measure of success. But all these dadgum broke financial geniuses that work with you or that'll be at Christmas dinner in your family, well, you need to protect your FICO score. Oh my God. You're listening to stupid people who are broke and they ran their FICO score up. They got no money, but they got a big score.
They got no money, but they got a big score. This is what he just said to you. The assumptions, the arrogance, the unmitigated gall of this man. And what he fails to understand is that the same financial discipline that he teaches for people to help them get out of debt should be the absolute same financial discipline that he should be teaching, and probably could have made another $50 million on if he would simply teach people how to work with the system instead of bucking the system. It ain't going nowhere. This is like the people who out there who converted all their vehicles from gas to vegetable oil, bucking the system like gas was going away, like electricity wasn't going to be a thing. You converted your cars to vegetable oil, breaking down on the side of the daggone freeway. This is that man. This is what that man is telling you to do. Do not play by the system that 99.9% of financial institutions play by. Nope. Ain't going to teach you how to do that. Ain't no way. Meanwhile, you got guys walking around like me, $250,000 in open personal credit, don't know a dime, ain't paid a dime in interest in years. Take free flights and free vacations 3-4 times a year. But there's not a way to do this. Simply not a way. Jesus.
Which says they've been playing kissy face with the bank a lot. That's all that score says.
I certainly have.
Now, you cannot find any data to support anything except what I've said is the truth. Go study FICO. Look at the history of the organization. Look at the algorithm and the way it's built. Well, you can't get a house without a FICO score, says a moron. Of course you can get a house without a FICO score. There's two possible ways. One is you save up and pay cash for it, which people do, believe it or not.
The hell?
And two is you get...
Okay. Now I know he doesn't live in America. He don't live on this planet. Because even in the places with the lowest income range and the lowest possible living expenses, you're not making $45,000 a year pre-tax, supporting a family, and saving up to pay for a home in cash. Most people have a problem paying a 20% down payment. I want you to do that math. Let's just say that the most people can possibly save, on average, $10,000 to $12,000 a year. It would take you 10 plus years to pay in cash a $120,000 mortgage. And just think about the way real estate's been going in America over the last 2 years. This is your king.
Get a mortgage company who actually knows how to write a mortgage without a FICO score. Not all of them do. A lot of them are so stupid they only know how to look at a number. Monkey can make this loan. Got the number. We don't even know if he's got a job, but we'll give him a dadgum loan. But if you get a mortgage company that knows how to do manual underwriting, you can get the same mortgage that high FICO.
If you win $1 million, if you win the lotto, you can buy your house cash. If you this and if you that and if you this and if you that. Went through this entire video dogging out FICO, which, by the way, I don't like FICO either. I think it's got a lot of flaws, but it's a part of the system. It's a necessary evil. But this dude went through the entire video, spouted about 15 pejoratives, and not one fact. I know you guys got a lot of places that you can go for credit knowledge and credit information, but you're here with me. I appreciate you. And if you like content like this, you want me to do more Dave Ramsey reaction videos or any other reaction videos, please feel free to send me any videos you'd like me to react to. If you think that the credit information is true or false or whatever, you just want my opinion on it, I'll be glad to go ahead and do it for you. Once again, my name is Jay, just Jay Woodfin on all platforms. Please go ahead and like and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you can figure out when I'm uploading new content. And I hope I can hang out with you guys for a while, man. Peace.